Star Wars Open Worlds is a Fallout New Vegas mod that brings in features like open world exploration across 12 different planets, a vast array of weapons as well as crafting elements that go alongside it, extremely detailed character customization, loads of side quests for you to also explore whilst doing the main quest, that also has a bounty system integrated in it. Think of it as a response to the cult classic cancelled Star Wars game, Star Wars 1313. The planets that you can explore range from Tatooine, Kashyyyk, Naboo, Manon, and so many more. And in today's video, we're going to be exploring all of the features I mentioned earlier in greater detail, some new features that the developers are working on that will be in the mod very soon, and one new feature the developer has given us to show you guys exclusively in this video. A trailer for the mod dropped a couple of months ago, and it starts by panning across these beautiful explorable landscapes in places that look like Mos Eisley in Tatooine, the congested traffic in the skies of Coruscant, and the living quarters of Ewoks in Endor. We also get glimpses of enemies that you'll encounter in the mod as well, which then brings us into the combat aspect of the mod. We can see how these enemies react to you and how they deal damage and how they differ from one another. We also see this amazing animation of a Gamorrean swinging his fist and slamming you in the face, dealing you direct damage. Whilst not all enemies have their own custom animations, many of them do, and design choices and dedications like these make a mod like Star Wars Open Worlds look like it's an actual Star Wars game. One of my favourite clips of combat in this trailer is you going head to head with an AT-AT, but in all of these videos of combat in the trailer, it gives you a glimpse on how many weapons are at your disposal, and these weapons excel depending on who you're fighting and what range you're wanting to fight at as well. The trailer then swiftly moves into a Mandalorian character using their jetpack, and what evidently increases your movement speed vastly than walking. It looks like one of many primary items that you'll use to get from point A to point B quickly, but it's the camera entering into third person mode here that I find quite interesting. As I mentioned a little bit earlier on in the video, Star Wars Open Worlds has a vastly detailed character customization system. You can change what species you want to be, what sort of faction you want to join, and these make sense because third person cameras allows users to get a glimpse of the character they've created in the world they're in. But one clip in the trailer shows off a feature that I am most excited for this mod. It's the ability to choose where you want to live in this world that's been created for you. You don't have to stick to one home. If you want to move to a different planet and live there, you can do that in this mod. And in this clip from the trailer, we can see the player opening up a door to reveal all the weapons they had collected so far. I love these type of features in an open world game because it makes me feel like I'm actually living in this world. It's one thing that annoyed me so much about Cyberpunk is that they promised you could move to different towns if you wanted, but then ending up dumping you in one crappy apartment that felt really lifeless with nothing to interact with. I really hope Star Wars Open Worlds go into great detail on this, whether it be to change your weapons, to change your clothes, to change your hair, etc, etc. Besides that, we get amazing glamour shots as the camera pans across these beautiful worlds with these amazing animations for the AT-AT and AT-ST, including shots of characters living in these worlds and what factions they're tied to, who are their leaders, what are they doing. It feels like it's full of life. The only negative I have for this mod is some of the overusage of shaders. Shaders that focus in on things that you're looking at in the foreground and blurring out the background seems pretty nice, but it's quite evident the feature doesn't work properly in this engine, and just to make things a little bit worse, they cranked the feature up to 10, so it's really obvious when it doesn't work. For the worlds that have been beautifully crafted like these ones in this mod, I don't want Gaussian blur all over my screen when I want to see the environment in front of me. I believe this to be an optimization method rather than a design choice, but once speaking to the developer Tankgirl, I realized it was just a personal shader she used and it won't be included in the final release. The game's story will take place in the very early years of the Galactic Empire during its push for supremacy. So when talking to the creator of the mod, Tankgirl, she followed up on that synopsis of the story by saying it will take a darker tone and will be driven totally by the player's choice, with up to 4 different ways to play the game, being the dark side, light side, grey side, and sandbox. Depending on what side you take depends on the ending you'll get at the end of the mod. and depending on what faction you're in will also come with a different companion that will follow you. They did state this will be limited by how many voice actors are available for the mod, and that's one part of the polish the game is missing right now. It doesn't have a lot of voice actors. There's a lot of recycled voice lines and sounds from other Star Wars films and games, but Tank Girl has reassured that there'll be unique voice actors reading out unique lines depending on what choices of dialogue you've chosen with that character. Just like Fallout New Vegas and the complex dialogue options it had, it'll be the same with Star Wars Open Worlds. But let's take a look at some of the features that Tank Girl is working on for this mod right now. So for anybody that's actually following this project, these are new features that haven't been shown out just yet. So starting with the small stuff first, we see a new range of grenade weapons that you can use against enemies. Here we can see a cryoban grenade being thrown at a stormtrooper, freezing them directly in place, unable to move. Here you can't talk to them, but you have the option to take them down instead. And the next weapon is the poison mine. By placing it down on the floor, the stormtrooper walks over it, activates it, and it slowly deals out damage over time, eventually taking down the stormtrooper. Moving on to some bigger stuff, Tank Girl is working on being able to craft your own droid companions. Here we can see her deploying 2 R4 and R5 units down on the ground, and these are doable once you've collected enough materials to put them together. The craftable droids in this mod are actually quite useful, from being able to craft security spikes, take on combative roles, or even be rigged to explode. There are other droids that have different purposes, like the cleaning droid that gathers random items when put on standby, so it can collect miscellaneous resources that you left behind. But the next clip we have here is something that is not being shown yet and is a big deal for the mod. We have a side quest where we need to take in a specific character to another location. Whether this be an escort mission for a friendly or a bounty you need to collect in with them alive, it allows you to open up a dialogue with this specific character in this side quest and decide how the situation goes down. Here we have a bounty. We need to take this guy in, but we can also see about being bribed or whether he goes with you by compliance or by force. But once we've confirmed our option, the player starts following us and we can finish our side quest. This is quite a simple version of what will come, but imagine how cool these side quests would be where you need to get this bounty from one planet to another without them dying. It's a lot more interesting than just gathering specific items or materials for one side quest. This feature has a lot of potential to have a lot of depth within it, and I'm really thankful to show you a feature like this exclusively on EcksToo. The mod has been in development on and off for about nearly 5 years now, but the story hasn't actually been started until about 3 years ago. The reason the mod is taking so long to make is because of the massive scope Tank Girl is undertaking here. Essentially a massive open world Star Wars RPG game that spans across 12 different planets, but also because for 96% of the game, Tank Girl's working alone. She does have a small team of voice actors at the moment, as well as one other animator besides herself. The rest of the work pretty much goes to Tank Girl. When it comes to a release date for this mod, unfortunately I can't give you one. After talking to the developer, they just didn't have one in sight at the moment. It's just too much work right now. If the mod gets more and more interest over time, and people that have a really strong knowledge in modding Fallout New Vegas, then maybe with the extra help, Tank Girl could theorize a rough release date. But for now, we just don't know. It could be this year, it could be next year, we don't know. But why Tank Girl wanted to make a mod like this, it pretty much boils down to experience. She said she wanted to put this together to demonstrate her skills in programming and 3D animation and modeling, etc, etc. And honestly, that's one of the best ways to go when it comes to game development. If you're just starting out and you want to work on something that you're genuinely passionate about, for instance, Tank Girl wanted a Star Wars RPG game that behaved just like Fallout, and instead of waiting for years for it to happen, she decided to make it herself. And when there's a lot of passion for a project like that, you can excel really fast in this field. But this was just a quick overview of Star Wars Open Worlds. If you're interested to find out more information and footage about this mod, or perhaps you believe you could help out in this mod too, I'm going to leave Tank Girl's Discord to the mod in the pinned comment down below. Go give her server some love, give it some attention, because this game needs a lot of eyes on it. And if you're interested in talking about other Star Wars games like Star Wars Empire War or Star Wars Squadrons, why not join our Discord as well in the pinned comment down below. There we have meme competitions, game tournaments with other users there. It's really worth your time, so go check it out. But besides that, guys, I've been Charlie, you've been watching EcksToo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.